The Merc with the Mouth and the Canadian sensation return, this time in Marvel, to visually stimulate your eye holes. Did Deadpool and Wolverine live up to the hype that we've been talking about for what feels like years? Find out right now on a brand new episode of the Absolute Geek Podcast. Welcome to my party, we're just getting started, a life is a dream. Finger guns out, you're locked into a brand new episode of the Absolute Geek Podcast, a post San Diego Comic-Con episode, post Deadpool and Wolverine, thank God episode.
We never thought we'd get here.
No, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about Deadpool and Wolverine.
And San Diego. Yeah, which you got to partake in a lot of the trending stuff that's going on in the socials.
Pretty much currently. All of it. I was in the Boys Hall H panel. I was in where they announced the spinoff of Vought Rising with Anson Jackals coming back as Soldier Boy.
Anson Jackals.
Yeah,
Jensen Ackles.
Jensen Ackles.
Anson Jackals.
Isn't
the guy that's Black Bolt, isn't his name Anson?
I don't know.
Anson Mount or something like that. Yeah, man. I was quite jealous. You were sending me pictures and shit, and you got to witness the reveal of Robert Downey Jr.
There. It's up on our YouTube page right now. My perspective of the announcement of Robert Downey Jr. returning as Dr. Victor Von Doom in Avengers Doomsday, one of two new Avengers movies being directed by the Russo brothers, which we both pretty much said, it was all smoke and mirrors that they're saying, well, early talks. No, those talks were done and over with probably weeks ago.
We did not know from the leaks that it was going to be Robert Downey Jr. though.
No, we
Dr.
did
not. Doom. So they did manage to keep a little bit hidden from us.
Well, I could tell you that. So Kevin Feige took the stage, and when they took the stage, they opened it with a giant chorus, gospel chorus, singing like a prayer from Madonna. And people coming out and Deadpool cosplay dancing through the aisles and stuff. And Kevin Feige took the stage and he said, we're going to talk about three upcoming movies tonight. We're going to talk about Captain America Brave New World. We're going to talk about the Fantastic Four. And we're going to talk about Thunderbolts. So we get the entire cast of, which I have video of. So when I put the videos out, you got to understand there's going to be a cut in it because when they showed us trailer footage, they would not allow us to record. Like it was, you had to put your cameras down. They had security guards everywhere. They were walking up and down the aisles with this device, these infrared devices that could register the heat from cell phones. So if anybody had their cell phone in the air or had their cell phone recording, it could detect it. Craziest Hall H I've ever seen. So it's definitely apparent that Marvel's Hall H plans were pivoted because of this leak that came out. So they did not do the Hall H panel that we originally heard about. Some of it, yes, because we got
some of it they couldn't avoid.
Yeah.
Like some of it had to be talked about.
So we got the first up was Captain America Brave New World. We got the entire cast out there. They showed a new trailer, which was quite a bit of. They showed a new scene, and the scene is just Harrison Ford kind of explaining that he wants to restart the Avengers and that the Celestials are made of adamantium and that the world is vying for this new element, adamantium. And he wants the United States to be the first country to have access to adamantium. And
even though technically isn't the Celestial like in Antarctica or something like that?
Well, it's in the middle of the ocean somewhere. Country.
Yeah.
But so they officially announced adamantium, and Harrison Ford says adamantium in the clip. so there can be no debate there. And then we get our first shot of the Hulk transforming, Red Hulk transforming in front of the White House, and he looks fantastic. And I almost
Better
got
than the
kicked
original
out.
trailer.
Yeah, I almost got kicked out of the Marvel panel right there because I was live tweeting everything that was going on. So I was trying to tweet what was going on in the trailer, and I accidentally hit my camera, and I went to grab it and put my cell phone in the air, and I was like, oh shit, and went to put it down. And so one of the security guards came over and he was like, you didn't get anything, did you? I was like, no, I didn't. He was like, can I look at your camera roll? I go, well, I have two toddlers, so there might be, and my wife is just sending me pictures of them in the bath together. And I was like, unless you want to be a pedophile, let me check real quick. And so I just, deleted those 2 photos real quick. And then I was like, yeah, here you go. And he saw what I was doing, but I covered it and just had their faces. So he saw what I was doing, but, he was like, okay, and let me go about my business. But yeah, security there was insane. Like, I've never seen security on that level, but people still got it. Like, there's the Fantastic Four footage they had. They started filming tomorrow in England. They had the whole cast there, and they showed it. They created like this little like old school infomercial presentation, like you would have saw in school in the 60s. Like,
yeah,
Jimmy likes to play dodge, like kind of like if you ever seen the movie Dodgeball, like the Dodgeball movie they watch.
Yeah.
Where you get to see like Reed Richards is kind of like a Bill Nye type a little bit, and you get to see the first family and them getting fitted for their spacesuits, and you see Ben Grimm, his silhouette as the Thing on a 60s style dating show, and they confirm that it's going to be set in the 60s, but a futuristic 60s time frame.
Whatever that means.
Well, so it's going to be like Fallout or that show that's on Apple TV tomorrow, whatever.
So something like where technology has like progressed,
but yes, but it's still set in the 60s.
Yeah, I got it.
And they had the Fantastic Four's flying car that's inspired by the Jetsons car fly over the Hall H panel and stuff, and
looked like an old like Buick.
Kind of, yeah. And then they had the Thunderbolts, and Yelena Belova is pretty much the head of the Thunderbolts, and Wyatt Russell said that you're gonna love his character by the end of this movie, and so you kind of get that feeling of the redemption. And then we got a trailer for that, but it wasn't a lot to talk about. I'm sure it'll be online soon.
Well, the big trending thing from that is Red Guardian coming out in the suit and then being like, "What the hell, guys?"
Yeah, he came out in his suit.
Everywhere.
He came out in his suit and he was like yelling at everybody else because he thought they were all supposed to cosplay and dress up in their suits, and he's the only one that did.
And Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, well, he made the comment. He was like, "I'm glad to see that Julia dressed up, but she's just wearing normal clothes like her character does." And then you kind of got the Sebastian Stan making the comments that he feels like Bucky Barnes is on his 9th life, and how many more lives does he have? Kind of maybe playfully nodding to that he might die in Thunderbolts. They started to explain what the asterisk was about, but then we're like, well, we're not going to do that right now. We don't want to give it away. And then pretty much Kevin Feige was like, all right, that's it. And then he was like, well, actually, do you guys want to hear about the Avengers? And the crowd was erupted. And then the lights went down and he introduced the Russo brothers, and they had a nice little like cut of scenes from each of the movies they directed to introduce the Russo brothers and brought them out on stage. And then you've probably seen it all over the internet. They were like, we were done. We were creatively exhausted with the Marvel Universe after Endgame. And after a few years, there was one project that really got us and thought that we could bring our artistic abilities back and really get in bed with Marvel one more time. And that was Secret Wars. And he's like, well, before we can get to Secret Wars, we have to introduce one major character. in the MCU and dressed it up a little bit. And then we got the green screen and then a shot of the Avengers Doomsday. And they had all these like druids dressed up as Doom on stage. And they're like, if you know, to get one person to play Doom, there's only one actor that could do that has the skill and capability to do that. And we want to reveal him right now. And they all parted ways and one walked forward and ripped his mask off. And it was Robert Downey Jr. Like, if you watch the video on our page, like the place erupts. You can hear me in the background going, "Oh my God." And like, dude, it was so loud and the energy was so high. Like my adrenaline started pumping. Like I was amped. I had goosebumps. I cannot tell you the last time I was in that type of environment where I was so fucking juiced, man. Like I was,
dude,
so
you called
juiced.
me. You called me, and I've never heard you so excited in my life. And I've known you for what, 6-7 years now. It feels like I've never heard you so excited that I compared it to, 16, 17 years old. You call your buddy to tell him you just lost your virginity.
Pretty much, yeah. I don't even
Like
think
that was the level of excitement coming from.
I don't even think I was that excited when my kid was born.
He's like, dude, I've discovered vagina.
Yeah. Like how you get the first time you find your Playboy or your dad's porn stash or something.
Yeah.
But
he's like, dude, and I'm like, I thought
pumped,
something
man.
bad had happened. Like I thought, like the way you picked up the phone and you were so like exasperated, and we got that shit out a minute after IGN. If you look, like IGN, I saw theirs, it was like 1 minute ago, and then ours was posted.
Oh, ours probably would have been out quicker if I would have hit the button instead of jumping up and down going, "Oh my God, oh my God."
Yeah, so that was pretty fucking cool to be on top of it. So obviously that was the highlight of your weekend. I know it was because of how you called me. But you did go to a Kevin Smith panel, right?
Yeah, I went to the Kevin Smith panel. I got to see the trailer for his new movie, 4:30 movie, which actually dropped today. So I got to see it a couple days in advance. Looks pretty good.
Well,
I'm excited for it.
I saw the video. I saw the trailer 3 days ago, because in the video he said, "Hey, everybody, grab their phones out. I don't care."
Oh yeah, yeah.
Shit online.
He was like, "I'm not Marvel. I'm not gonna stop you from recording this. I want you to record it. Everybody, get your shit out and record it and put it online. I don't give a shit." Yeah,
yeah. So that was pretty cool. Kevin Smith kind of playing to the crowd a little bit at Marvel's expense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you did say that there was some issues with so they screened Deadpool, and apparently you had to get tickets for it.
So they announced a Deadpool Wolverine panel for Thursday night, and it was originally only an hour. And then come Wednesday night, because Wednesday was preview night, come Wednesday night, they moved the panel to 3 hours. So everyone was like, "Oh, this is a screening. Well, earlier in the week, on San Diego's website, they posted a thing, and it was, you had to enter your name into it, and then it was a drawing, and then they emailed the people who won. And Hall H holds 63,000 people. So
not 1,000, 6,200.
Or sorry, yeah, 6,200, 63 to 62 to 6,300 people. So they did the raffle and whatever, I guess. So people were notified that they won and given, certain credentials to get in. And so I guess people started lining up, and the line went from the normal Hall H line, wrapped around the building, past the Adult Swim stuff, past the IMDb boat, like all the way down the marina, like almost all the way down to the opposite end of the hall. Because Hall H is at the far end, and then Hall A is at the other end. And so it almost wrapped back down to Hall A. So people were like, "What is going on? This is only supposed to be, 6,200, 6,300 people. And there's clearly more than that in this line." So they were just letting anybody in, I guess. They were handing out the popcorn bucket. People were getting the Wolverine popcorn bucket and then the cups in line. So as they went into Hall H, they were handed that. So there was a bunch of people I started getting hit up on social media like, hey, you know, we've got tickets to the Deadpool Wolverine and so anyways, nobody knew it was a screening until Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and all them came out and said something, and they were like, we're going to screen the movie now. And so they started handing out popcorn for the buckets and screen the movie. Well, that's when people started, you know, sending a message on social media like, we won the raffle. We had the tickets. We're still outside. We weren't allowed in. So they were just letting anybody in, regardless if you had a ticket or not. They were just letting people in because I was going to try to get in, and my brother was with me since you couldn't go. And I was going to try to get in with press. And we both were like, it's a ticketed event. That means that they've sold every seat out. So they're probably not letting press in. And I was like, yeah, that's probably true. So I didn't even try. Well, I should have tried because, like I said, they just let anybody in who was in line. They weren't checking tickets, nothing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, for someone who's gone to San Diego Comic-Con for quite a few years now, so it was like my 6th or 7th year, the line management this year was such a clusterfuck and so unorganized. Now, this was a San Diego Comic-Con of San Diego Comic. Like, this has been the most packed San Diego Comic-Con was for years since pre-pandemic. Like, I'm talking preview night was insane. So usually on preview nights, they open the doors up and everybody, you know, can badge in, badge out as long as you have a preview night badge. This year, they only had one entrance. The entrance, and that was entrance like, and I want to say it was like D or E, and then the line went
at the other end from Hall H, or is that closer to Hall H?
No, that's closer to Hall H. So that went all the way down the block to Hall A. People were in line to try to get in. Standing, and it was hot. Like, it was like 85 degrees, 86 degrees with 90% humidity. So for San Diego, that's hot.
Right.
It was muggy. It was shitty. So you just stand in line for that, and then just like they had people lining up in the middle of the hall, or, you know, switching lines, or like usually when you're going into Hall H, they have it open so you can cross where the doors are for press. Well, this year they had it all barricaded off, so you had to walk all the way down to the end of the street and around by the Hilton and then down the street to try to get into Hall H for press. And it was just such a line management. All that was such a clusterfuck this year. And really,
and I thought it was bad last year, but what you're telling me makes it sound way worse.
Really though, like, there was not a whole lot of presentation in the vendor hall. I felt like the vendor hall was set up a lot like last year. It was a lot of the same production. You know, there was not a lot of change to the vendor hall.
I'm assuming like Good Burger and Ninja Turtles and all that stuff wasn't there this year.
No, but it was just transformed into SpongeBob.
Oh,
because they had the announcement of the new SpongeBob movie, and Mark Hamill gonna do the voice of I think it's the Dutchman or Flying Dutchman or something like that, or Davy Jones or something along those lines in the new SpongeBob movie. But yeah, like, it didn't feel like, so booths were wrapped around themselves. So like IDW had a huge booth, but it was like a wall of turtles, and then you could see like their signing area, and then you had to go around and in to get into like buy stuff or get tickets for signings or anything like that. So it was just it was a clusterfuck, honestly. Like, the line management of everything was a clusterfuck, because not only on did they have one line on preview night, but so you had to go in and then upstairs where you get your lanyards and bags and stuff, and then down. Like, that's the only way you could get into the vendor hall, is up, over, and down. You couldn't just walk into the vendor hall like
before. In that main lobby, you couldn't go through there?
Nope, not on preview night. So
why?
I don't fuck if I know. They thought maybe it would be more efficient, and all it did was keep people standing out inside the heat. So back to Thursday, they usually have tents lined up for people who are waiting in line for Hall H, so you're in the shade. Well, the line was so long that people were out in the sun and there was no water. They weren't handing out water, and they were waiting for hours till they were finally told, "Oh, the line's capped." Because, people were like, "I have a ticket. I'm gonna get in, so I don't need to line up. I can go enjoy my con." Like,
For
you would
Deadpool?
think you would think that ticket would guarantee you a spot, but nope, didn't. I'll tell you though, it was funny on Wednesday. I went upstairs to get my bag and my lanyard, and as I'm putting my lanyard on my badge, one of the security guards stops me and he goes, "What kind of media do you do?" I was like, "I have a podcast." He's like, "What's it called?" I was like, "Absolute Geek Podcast." "What's it about?" I was like, "Comics, movies, pop culture, pretty much why I'm here." And he's like, "Oh, so I was on Dr. Phil. Do you want to have me on your show?" And I was like, he was like, "What's your show about again?" I was like, "Pop, comics, video games, movies." He's like, "So you don't really talk about like entertainment stuff?" I was like, "We do, yeah, movies and things like that." He's like, "Oh, well, never mind then. I'm not interested in anything like that." It's like, you were on your claim to fame is like you were on Dr. Phil, so I should automatically like be like, "Oh, dude, come on my show. Fuck yeah, man. Let's go. Get out. Yeah, what do you want to talk about?"
What was he on Dr. Phil for?
Never said. Like, the minute we established that like this wasn't going to be a good fit for him, he was like, "Never mind."
Oh my gosh.
But all in all, like, it was a fucking clusterfuck of a trip, man. So my brother went with me, and then my sister decided she was going to invite herself. So they drove separately. So it was
Did she have
me
tickets?
and my wife. No. So it was me and my wife, my 2 kids, my brother, and my sister in a double queen bed hotel room. So we made
all
it work.
of you guys in one hotel room?
Yeah. Yeah, it was fine. The room was bigger. We didn't stay in the same type of room we stayed in last year. So the room was a little bit bigger.
Yeah, that was tough last year. And there was only 4 of us.
Yeah, within 5 minutes of being in the hotel room, I found pubes on the back of the bathroom door.
Ugh.
And there was stains on the sheets and a hair in the sheet when I pulled the sheet back. So we had to get the sheets changed and shit, and it was just gross. So then my sister was like, "Oh, I want to go to California and go to the beach." And well, fucking 2 days into being there, she falls and breaks her ankle.
What?
Yeah, my wife and her my wife met her friend at a play place for the kids. And so and they were playing, and Logan got stuck and didn't want to come down. She was scared to come down. So the woman already went up there, and Aaron was like, "Well, Logan's not going to go to her. She doesn't really know this woman." So my sister went up there to get her. And I guess my sister came down and got on the platform. And when she went to go from the platform to the floor, she decided that she needed to jump. And when she came down, she twisted her ankle and ended up hairline fracturing her ankle.
Oh.
So then she got put in a boot and crutches, and that turned into a giant shit show. And so,
poor thing, dude.
Yeah, but all in all, it was an experience.
All because Logan didn't want to come down.
Yeah. It was an experience. Like I said, my really only complaint about San Diego this year was like all of the action was definitely in panels this year, where Marvel announced a bunch of new stuff in their comic book panels. Robert Kirkman and the animation team at Prime Video announced a bunch of stuff in their panel. We got announcements for
like Invincible stuff.
Yeah, we got Invincible has been picked up for season 4. They debuted your first looks at Mark's blue and black costume.
Okay.
Got a bunch of Simpsons news. Keanu Reeves, a bunch of stuff with his Berserk comic book. A bunch of Star Trek stuff. We're getting new Star Trek shows.
No movie though. They didn't announce a movie.
Yes, they did. It's called Sector 31. It's gonna be a movie
not
on
Chris Pine or
no, not like that. But it's a movie on Paramount Plus.
Straight to streaming.
Yeah. And then they announced that Keanu Reeves' Berserker is getting a live action movie and also an anime that's coming to Netflix.
Okay.
What else? Of course, all the Marvel Studio stuff. We got a panel for the final season of Superman and Lois, which they're doing Death of Superman. We got to see the fight scene between Doomsday and Superman and that. I'm trying to think of what else. Of course, The Boys. We got the announcement that Gen V is coming back next year for season 2, and Soldier Boy is going to be a main player in season 2 of Gen V, as well as the spin-off series Vault Rising, following Stormfront and Soldier Boy, and I want to say in the 40s.
Yeah, it's around World War II. So that would.
So we got that announcement. I feel like I'm forgetting something. We got new footage for the next season of Lord of the Rings that I know most people don't care about. They had
just
the Deadpool, Deadpool Wolverine trailer, showing. They did a sweet drone show over Petco Park where the Padres play. That
I saw you sent me a picture about that.
Yeah, Deadpool, Wolverine, and Galactus, and then you get your first look at Galactus in the Fantastic Four trailer, which the Fantastic Four trailer footage is just floating around out there online, so you'll probably come across it. Or you get to see Galactus in that. Yeah, that's pretty much what San Diego in a nutshell. Like,
I got to tell you, like, I'm super excited for Fantastic Four because it's always been one of my favorite books. I mean, I grew up reading X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man specifically. I hate the title of the movie.
First Steps?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Why?
It just seemed like, I don't know if is there a book that has to do with First Steps or something like that?
There is a Fantastic Four First Steps, yeah.
So maybe that's the case, but I would have loved it if they would have called it The First Family or something like that.
Well,
like,
I'm sure the title will change.
Maybe.
Captain America was originally New World Order, and now it's Brave New World. Oh, we got the announcement that Giancarlo Esposito is playing Sidewinder. So he is playing a villain in the movie. Awesome. So that's officially who his character is Sidewinder. So, head of the Serpent Society.
Yeah, just Marvel's naming of movies. Like, I know they try to go for things that are like comic related. But the First Steps thing, like, I think when you're talking to the general public, I assume that it had something to do with a book. I didn't research it that much because
maybe I'm thinking of Doomsday. Let me research real quick.
What, First Steps?
Yeah.
So I assume that it had something to do with book. I'm not a wealth of knowledge like you are when it comes to that stuff. But Marvel's First Family would have been a great name. You know what I mean? Like, set it off like these are the characters that started the whole thing, right?
Yeah. No. So no, First Steps. I don't think First Steps is a comic title. Doomsday is.
Oh, so I knew Doomsday was.
I'm getting the two mixed up.
So First Steps isn't attributed to a comic.
No.
I really hope they change that because it just seems a little Mickey Mouse, I guess. Which, ironically,
like I said, they haven't even started shooting the movie yet, so the title could change by that time.
Or why do you even need a tagline? Why do some of these things need taglines?
I don't know, but like I said, First Step, Captain America changed. They went from New World.
I think there was a legal thing.
So
I think there was a legal thing attached to that because NWO with
WWE.
Yeah. But I don't know. But yeah, I'm excited for Brave New World. I think it's gonna be pretty good.
Yeah, it looks good. I'm a little bit worried in particular with how many reshoots they were, and then the addition to John Carlos Esposito being added at the end, and them having to go back and reshoot scenes with him. That kind of worries me a little bit. If I'm being
I think you're
100%
going to see
honest.
a lot of that. I think with the Marvel definitely is pivoting. I think you're going to see a lot of things being reshot. You're going to hear
Well, yeah, they had
if
to.
there
Like
was more movie. What's
there was
that?
no mention of Kang the Conqueror. There was no mention of um the Jonathan Majors, nothing. And so the fact that they completely repivoted and went away from Kang and went to Doom, yeah, I think that's what
You
you're
don't
saying
think they're
is.
going to address it at all? Because there's
I
like
don't
open
I don't know. I
plot.
think they're gonna not really. If you think about it, if you go off the end of Ant-Man, um, off the end Quantumania, they dealt with Kang. It ended, they don't really have to go. That could be
But
the end of
didn't
Kang right
Loki
there.
season 2 come out after Ant-Man?
Yes, and even Loki, like he who remains is gone. Loki is now the new ruler, the new guardian of the sacred timeline. So, and even in Deadpool Wolverine, like the new TVA is there because that one chick is in charge of the TVA now. So the events of Loki, so the events in Deadpool Wolverine take place after Loki season 2. So
Yeah.
the Kang stuff is kind of wrapped up if you really want to be, if you really want to look at it.
Such a shame though, because Kang is such a cool character. They just didn't do him justice in the movies.
Yeah.
And I think that they shot themselves in the foot when they had all the Kang variants as the same actor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could have had like a Kang by committee, and then you would have never had
Sure.
this issue. You just fire one of the actors and then just
Sure.
have the other ones pick up the slack.
You could have. But
Or hire somebody that's more established than Jonathan Majors, like a
they could have,
Denzel or something.
Kang can take on anybody. They could have gotten Denzel or they could have got the dude from Fear the Walking Dead that was in talks to play Kang the Conqueror for a while. They could have got the dude who played Randall on This Is Us. I can't think of his name right now. Sterling K. Brown.
Yeah, but he's T'Challa's brother.
But it doesn't matter. Clearly, if Robert Downey Jr. is coming back.
But I think, isn't there a specific? Actually, speaking of Robert Kirkman, doesn't Robert Kirkman have a Doom's book, Doctor Doom book, where Tony Stark is Doctor Doom?
There's an argument going on around about 3 books right now that are considered the first appearance of Tony Stark as Doctor Doom, and
one of them's
what if Iron Man, Demon and Armor number 1, what if Tony Stark was Doom, is one of the book. Then Exiles 23 is, people are saying it's the first appearance of Doctor Doom. But
that's Tony Stark.
Yeah, but that's not it either. Then there's Infamous Iron Man number 1. People are saying it's the first appearance of Tony Stark as Doctor Doom, and then the Kirkman book is it's Marvel Team Ups 2. It's the Spider-Man Wolverine cover, but it's Marvel's Team Ups number 2 is what Bob Liefeld came out and said is the first appearance of this character, and pretty much the one that everyone's toting is the first appearance of this character. So
Kirkman's.
It just depends on who you ask, and so be careful. Pretty much this is one of those instances where if you're trying to buy to make a grip of cash, like if you don't already own the books, then you're kind of behind the 8 ball. So I wouldn't even bother, because they're already going for, they were $1 books on Saturday morning, and they're now going for $50 plus. So
hey, so when there's discussion about like this is the first appearance or this is, can't you look at just the release date of
Mhm.
those books?
Well,
So is Robert Kirkman's officially the first one?
that's kind of that's one thing they use as release date, but release schedule where so it could be that this book was supposed to come out before this book, but because this book got pushed, the other book came out first. So technically, that is the first one to hit newsstands. So technically, that's the first appearance. But if you want to get even more technical, the other book was supposed to release before that book, so that makes it. But then it could be, oh well, this character appeared in an insert in this book before this book released and this book released. So it gets very like muddied. Like the best example I can give you is like the Black Suit Spider-Man first appearances.
Yeah.
So if you look at hold on. Let me pull this up because I want to get the order right here. So if you go the Black Suit Spider-Mans, so you have Amazing Spider-Man 252, you have Secret Wars 8, Spectacular Spider-Man 90, and then you have Marvel Team Ups 141. So it gets very like muddied.
Yeah.
When you start talking about like chronological order of things, because so Marvel Team Ups 141 came out just before Amazing Spider-Man 52, but Amazing Spider-Man 52 is considered his first black suit in continuity, where then you have Secret Wars 8 that came out around the same time. It's like I said, it just gets so like convoluted and you're breaking at that point, you're really breaking it down to timelines at that point.
It's dumb.
Yeah,
dumb.
It can be very dumb, but a lot of people are like to say, oh well, you know, when it comes to this instance, I'm just like, if you can get them all, because then you could definitively say that you have the first appearance of the Black Suit Spider-Man. So, so technically, then they say, okay, well, Spider-Man 252 is now their first official appearance, and then chronologically dawned in Secret Wars 8, and like I said, it just gets like convoluted to where they really went through and broke it down by like, well, this book released before this book, but this book was supposed to be released due to it was pushed and da 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 da. So, you know, I own all of them just because I want to be able to say I have the definitive first appearance of Black Suit Spider-Man. So, like I said, it gets so convoluted.
Yeah,
and a lot of people will go off of, well, CGC says this, and
just to make their case that their book is worth more than what another book is. Yeah. I don't know. Well, yeah, man, I'm glad you made it back in one piece. It sounds like your sister did not.
Yeah, she you know, most of us made it back. My kid hated the beach. It was Logan's well, it wasn't her first time to the beach, but when she was an infant last time we went, and now she's 2 and she hated the beach. She hated sand being all over her. She did not enjoy it at all. So
So my daughter turned 13 yesterday.
No, big
I have a
13-year-old.
teenager in the house.
Mm-hmm.
It's freaking crazy.
Enjoy
Another
that.
reason why I had a hard time coming to Comic-Con this year.
Enjoy that.
Yeah. Already has an attitude to match her 13 years on this planet.
Pretty soon, boys are gonna be showing up.
Oh, fuck, dude. I'm going to go buy a gun.
Boys are gonna be showing up and hanging out. And just wait till she gets her heart broken for the first
Dude,
time. And
I got to tell you, man, though, I'm so grateful that I have my daughter. So my daughter has this little friend. I'm not going to say her name, but same age. And my daughter's on TikTok. We've completely stripped hers down to where if you don't know her tag, like she's not showing up like in For You pages and stuff like that. Like she basically, the only people that follow her are like people that know her in real life, right? Because she's 13. She's got another friend, and this friend of hers is gorgeous, right? And parents have already had issues with boys. These are 13-year-old girls. And I stumbled across one of her videos, and in that video, she's talking about like, you know, I'm a slut and all this other stuff. 13 years old. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, thank God that my daughter is still like innocent. Because I look at some of her friends and I'm like, those poor parents.
Yeah.
What they must be going through. Like this girl, if she's not careful, she's going to end up pregnant by 16 or something bad's going to happen. You know what I mean? Because her parents just let her go crazy, man.
I got to figure out a way to strip down fucking YouTube Kids, because there's some vile shit on YouTube Kids. Like,
so I've heard that, but I've yet to
be
discover anything.
Oh, dude. So I'm sitting there. So we let Logan have some screen time at night, usually like before or after dinner. And so that's kind of like a wind down. So she's sitting there having her screen time on her tablet, and I hear, "Oh, Peppa. Oh, come here, Peppa. Daddy needs you, Peppa." And I was like, "Logan, what the fuck are you watching? My tablet?" I said, "Can I
my
see
tablet?"
Yeah, and she hands it to me. And it's Peppa's Pig's dad taking a shit. And you see the shit coming out of him. And he calls Peppa in, and they start playing in the shit together.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, fuck this. Get this shit out of here, right? So I turn it off, and she goes to watch it. I put on Disney Plus, and she starts watching Moana. Well, today my wife's working, and I was doing some stuff, finishing up editing the the Hall H video for the announcement of Dr. Doom. And I was like, I'm going to let Logan have some screen time. So I gave her a tablet, and I hear, "Peppa, come get a gun so we can go zombie hunting. Come here, Peppa." And I was like, "Logan, what the fuck are you watching?" And I will get up and go over there. And there's Peppa's dad with an AK-47, like handing it to Peppa to go fucking zombie hunting. And he's like, "You got to shoot zombies in the head." And I was like, fuck no. Like, fuck no. We're turning this off.
It seems like a lot of it's around Peppa Pig.
Yeah, well, so what these people do is they take like Peppa Pig, Caillou, even Bluey. They're doing it to Bluey now, where there's a channel that like they do vile shit with Bluey action figures. Like they act out scenes, and they do vile shit with Bluey action figures. And it's like, and they're putting this shit on YouTube Kids.
How does this stuff, like Google? I'm amazed that Google doesn't have some sort of lawsuit,
right? And so,
because they're responsible for their parental controls.
Yeah,
like you tell us there's this YouTube Kids app. We set it up for our kids. You tell us that it's for kids, and then this stuff's leaking through. I mean, Google's one of the biggest companies in the world. You'd think they could figure out a way to tighten this shit down. Like every video that goes onto YouTube Kids should go through like a like a review process.
Like my kid's obsessed with boogers now. Like every time we're like, "What do you want for dinner?" She's like, "Boogers, boogers, boogers," because there's a song about eating your boogers she found on YouTube Kids. And there's a song about don't flush toys down the potty, and there's like all this crazy crap on YouTube Kids, and I'm like, tonight my wife and I were like, we're just deleting YouTube off of everything except our phones and our TVs, what we control, because I
Yeah.
don't want her watching shit like that on her tablet, so she can just watch Disney Plus or Netflix Kids or whatever. Like, she's not gonna watch, but she's like very independent for a 2-year-old, so she likes to choose what she wants to watch.
Yeah.
So she'll start playing a video, and then of course, the recommended videos pop up on the side. So then she clicks on those, and then she just gets down this fucking hole of just weirdness. And like,
Yeah, most of the time, like Livy's the only one. She just turned 4. She's the only one that watches YouTube. Like my older 2 boys watch YouTube, but they're mainly watching like people play video games and stuff like Minecraft and things,
yeah,
like playthroughs. But my daughter, when she's watching YouTube Kids, she's literally like right next to me, and I've yet to hear anything. Some of those videos you described, I'd be like, "What the fuck is this?"
dude.
One time,
like, what the fuck are you watching?
One time, Lex came across a video, and it was adults like wearing diapers.
Yep, I've seen that
and
one.
stuff, and I'm like, absolutely not. So we took YouTube away for like a month.
Well, I just
like it wasn't his fault, but we're like,
I just started reporting the videos now. I just like report.
Yeah,
but I have to tell you,
it's just a shame though that you have to be so helicopter about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what are you watching? Like, you put them on PBS Kids, which my daughters watch PBS Kids a lot. And it's all Daniel Tiger and all that stuff, like video little clips and stuff. I don't have to worry about any of that shit because it's all PBS sanctioned stuff. It's not like user supplied videos, right? It's clips from the show that's on PBS. When you put your toddlers and stuff in with these apps, like, and they're meant for kids, you would hope that there'd be some sort of like the scrutiny would be even larger with some of these apps.
Yeah.
Than like YouTube, for instance. TikTok is just as bad, man. Like TikTok, I was on it the other day and straight up porno came up on my feed.
Yeah. She's not allowed to have any.
Well, yeah, I would hope you don't put her on TikTok, but I'm just scrolling through and it must be my demographic. I'm a 39-year-old man. Somehow porn showed up on my TikTok, and obviously
what were you watching before that, Lance?
It was, I want to say it was a Jim Gaffigan video or something like that. Like most of my TikTok, like I kid you not, most of my TikTok is comedians. Well, you have access to it. It's comedians, political shit, and DIY. That's pretty much all it is. Like 3D printing stuff, or like I built my own like Arizona room, like type shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty basic.
Yeah,
I'm a basic bitch.
I don't fuck around with TikTok. I get my TikTok from Instagram Reels or Facebook Reels or.
See, I like TikTok because I know that it's not being the messages that I'm getting, like specifically with like political stuff. It's not being put through like any sort of filter. Does that make sense? Like Facebook and Instagram, like they're really in control of like what you see.
Yeah, I'm so tired of political shit already. Blake text message, Donald Trump endorses Blake Masters. I don't care. Kamala Harris, blah blah blah. I don't care. Don't text me, message me this shit. I don't care.
Yeah. But all right, well, let's talk about the.
I have to tell you a funny story that happened in San Diego. So we are a very colorfully mouthed family, if you can tell by the way I talk on this show. My wife and I, we're not big on like, don't say that swear word or don't say this, because they're just words, right?
Yeah.
And so like Logan will say fuck and shit, and we try to correct her, like, don't say that, but we don't like scold her or beat her for it. And I'm not that we beat our kids at all, but we don't scold her or
1-800-CPS.
yeah, right. Um, we don't yell at her. We don't put her in timeout. We don't scold her. We don't do any of that for saying. We just say, don't say that, or you're not supposed to say that, or whatever. But at the end of the day, they're just words. So there's been times where she's been like fucking shit, or fuck, or what. She'll repeat whatever we say.
Yeah.
We're at dinner at the little restaurant at the hotel, and we're eating, and Logan got a cup of water with a straw on it, but she spilled a little bit on her shirt, and she looks up and goes, "Oh shit, I spilled water on my shirt." And Aaron and I died laughing. Like, I can't be mad because she used it in like the perfect context. So like I could not be mad at her. I was proud. It was a proud dad moment just because she's 2 and she's using swear word in perfect context. And yeah, we laughed and laughed about it. But
I'm very similar. Well, you've heard me speak, right? Like, I don't care about my kids cursing. What I care about them is in what setting they're cursing, right? If I find out they're at school and they're cursing in front of their teachers or something like that, I'm going to be upset about. You know what I mean? Or cursing to their teachers.
See, I don't know if I could be. And I know that probably makes me a bad parent, but like, if my kid uses it in the perfect context, how can I scold that? Like,
well, it's more so that I want them to show respect to people of
like,
authority.
I guess if she was like, fuck you to her teacher, then that's one thing. But if she's like, sitting at work, and her pencil breaks and she's like, shit, or damn it, like, okay, well, I can't get too mad about that. But
I also know that there's some people that don't like, it's a respect factor, right? There's some people that don't like to hear those things. So like, I try to teach them. I'm like, okay, when you're around the house with mom and I, like, we don't care. As long as you're not just dropping F-bombs every other word, like, then we might have a discussion, right? But you stub your toe and you say, oh, shit, I stubbed my toe, or you know what I mean? It's something like that. Like, I don't care. But if you're just like, oh, fucking, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, dude, you're not an idiot. Like, speak intelligently. You know what I mean? Or if you're at school, like, oh, gave us fucking homework again. No, that's not okay. Right? Like, there's a respect factor. I try to, like, when I'm at the mall or something like that, and I see a group of teenagers and they're just like effing, I would never, right? Like, I have a pretty, I have a sailor's vocabulary, but even still, like, when I'm in a public setting and I see like kids around or like something like that, like I try to button it up, those are the kind of things I want to teach my kids.
Yeah.
So, but
I don't know. All I know is that my 2-year-old can tell the difference between taking a poop and taking a shit. And she'll tell you. And it's my fault because I'm like, oh, I'll be talking to my wife like, oh, I gotta take a shit, and I'll like waddle into the bathroom to do so, and my 2-year-old will be like, "Mommy, are you taking a poop?" And she's like, "Nope." And she's like, "Oh, you're taking a shit." Or she'll be like, "Mommy, are you taking a poop or a shit?" And it's just like, all right, well, the different levels, then I guess. Good on you. But
it's turdlet, poop, or shit.
Yeah. Moral
Turdlets
of the story
are like
is,
deer poop.
Don't ever ask me to babysit your kids. Don't ever ask me to be around your kids. Don't ever ask me to do anything like that because I've got a bad mouth and they'll probably pick up.
I don't know if I'd ask you, but I definitely would ask Erin.
Well, yeah, she's a professional nanny, or she was a professional nanny, so.
Yeah, it's my wife too. My wife, when we first started dating, she was a nanny for like 4 different families.
I'm like, there's, you probably have better odds. Well, I don't know. You have better odds than, I don't know. Your odds of your child picking up a swear word from me being around are probably a good, at least 85%. Like, because I use them so often and I don't filter my mouth that I've come to the point where I don't realize when I'm doing it. So like, I'll be talking, there'll be a kid like there, and I'll be like, oh, you know, fucking. My wife will be like, dude, there's a kid right here. I'm like, oh yeah, shit. And I was like, God damn it. I'm like, all right.
I do it around my sister's kids. My sister does not like it, and I catch myself all the time.
Like if I'm a conscious of it and I'm in a conscious conversation where I can see the child, I'll be like, all right, you know, I won't say it, but if I'm just going and I'm not paying attention to my surroundings and I'm just like, well, then fucking, you know, and it's like, dude, there's kids around. I'm like, oh, sorry, you know, whoops. And usually dad's like, oh,
customer
they hear
service
worse
voice when you're at work.
Yeah, they're like, oh, sorry, you know, oh, no big deal. They hear worse from that than that around our house. I'm like, all right, cool, you know. But
I think I've told you that.
Yeah,
like, don't worry about it. Like, my kids have heard the worst.
All
But,
right, Deadpool Wolverine.
Yeah, dude. So you saw it what, Friday?
Thursday night.
But you didn't see it at the pre-screening.
No, sorry, Friday. Yeah, I saw it Friday.
So I know we had talked about it before it came out, and I was saying, hey, I think that this could be pretty good, and I thought that most people agreed with me that they thought it was going to be good, but then you were telling me that there were some people that thought, no, it's going to suck. Kyle, I think, was one, right?
Yeah, there's quite a few people that thought it was going to suck.
Do you think that the opinion of that has changed? Those people that said that thought it was going to suck?
I don't know. Kyle still hasn't seen it, and he's refusing to see it just because he doesn't want to be wrong. So
sounds like Kyle. That tracks. I got to tell you, it exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, mine too. It's not a perfect movie. Like, I think it's not a perfect movie by any means.
Oh yeah, I agree.
But I think it's honestly, with just kind of the way Marvel movies have been lately, and we've said it before, where we're getting that same formula of, oh, this is this person, oh, this is their backstory, oh, we're going back in time to their ancestors. And I mean, we got that in Moon Knight, we got that in Miss Marvel, we got that in Echo. It was a different type of movie. Like, this was just a fun comedy superhero movie, rated R superhero.
Even though it had a ton of can't say it. It affected the future of the MCU greatly.
Implications.
Implementate.
Yeah,
can't say it now, dude. I know that word. I just, for some reason now, I'm like second guessing how that word goes. But implementations, whatever. It affects the future of the MCU probably more so than most of the things we've seen in this current phase.
Not really, though.
Well, I think that this movie firmly introduces mutants, like, because he does he goes to Earth 616, and you know what I mean? Like, I think it sets the stage for, because the only mutant thing that we've got before this was, well, we got Miss Marvel. Hey, you're a mutant, right? Mm-hmm. We got Doctor Strange, Professor Xavier showing up. That was the only mutant, I think, in that one, right?
Mm-hmm. I think technically they're going to say America Chavez is a mutant.
Yeah, but it's not explicitly said that she's a mutant, right?
Yeah, no.
So, but this is the first one where we're like, these are mutants, right? Like,
they don't even really call Wolverine a mutant. They don't even do that. I mean, do they even really mention the word mutant in the movie at all?
I don't know. I'm planning on going to see it again, so I might have a different I don't know. I think that I kind of view it as like a reset, right? Like, in the movie, they specifically said, can we stop with the multiverse shit? And then that same weekend we get, hey, Kang is out, Doomsday's in, right?
But it's still multiverse stuff, because Fantastic Four is set in a different universe, in a different time frame. So I don't think, me personally, I don't think Deadpool and Wolverine has much implication on
But you see, you're doing it too.
implication. Yeah, just because I've heard you do it. On the future of the MCU, because I mean we're spoiling it, right? Like,
Yeah, let's get into spoilers. It's been out for a week almost.
Hold on. Yeah.
What are you trying to do?
Just put something on the screen. Hold on. Yeah, so we're gonna spoil it. So if you don't want spoilers, switch off now at 3, 2, and come back when you know, at the end of the show, or once you've seen Deadpool, to see what we think and leave your thoughts about the movie in the comment section below. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the end of the movie,
I'm fixing it.
Nothing changes. His world is saved. His timeline is saved. So he goes back to his timeline, and they're not in the current MCU. So I think what Doomsday is going to start is the 2 Avengers movies are going to set up Secret Wars, where they start plucking heroes from different timelines to put together a team for Secret Wars. And that's how, you know, I think Galactus is going to eat the Fantastic Four universe and planet, and then they're gonna go somewhere else, and then they're gonna get plucked out to help, you know, fight in Secret Wars. Same with Deadpool and Wolverine, because there's already talk that Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds are gonna come back for the 2 Avengers movies, and Kevin Feige already said on stage that the Fantastic Four will be part of the 2 Avengers movies.
They have to be. If one of them's called Doomsday,
yeah,
it has to be.
So
you can't have a Doom movie without Fantastic Four.
I don't really think that this movie has the ramifications or the implications on the MCU that people are saying it does.
Well, I think there's one big one. They essentially undid. They undid, and they you know, saved the legacy that is Logan, right? The movie Logan. They brought Wolverine back. Wolverine is now existing in Deadpool's world where he wasn't before. X-23 is there, which I don't fully understand that. Like, wasn't X-23 already in that world? And
technically, Logan was in that world, because that's what creates the event, and why they're trying to destroy that timeline is because Logan dies, and Wolverine dies in Logan. So technically,
yeah, but now they have a new Logan there,
right? So but I've had this conversation. Like, I've had so many people talk to me about this movie, and they're like, "Well, it's cool that the Wolverine from Logan is teaming up with Ryan Reynolds." No, he's not. It's not the Wolverine from Logan. It's not the Wolverine from the Logan universe.
It's like a reluctant Wolverine.
Yeah, it's a different universe. And one of my buddies is like, "No, man, he's in the same universe, because in Logan, Xavier kills all the mutants, and that's what they say, is that Logan let all of his friends die." I said, but it's not Logan, because he's digging up Logan's grave at the beginning of the movie, and you are told that the reason his universe, and the whole plot of the movie is the reason his universe is dying is because Logan died. He lost that like cornerstone staple of that universe is gone in Logan. So X-23 is already in that universe, you know. So
that's what I don't understand. Is there 2 X-23s now? So technically there's 2 Logans in that universe. One's dead.
Yeah.
Right? Because this is a variant. That X-23 was in the void, but X-23 existed already because Logan saves her at the end.
That's the same X-23. It's only one X-23. Those characters are in the void because she's a 20th Century Fox character. So all the characters in the void are 20th century. They're pruned from that timeline, essentially. So they're like being pruned from that timeline.
Oh, see, I didn't even consider that. I thought they were from another timeline.
No,
like she lived the same life that other X-23 did, and
No, that's why she tells him the story, Logan, my Logan saved me. And because of him I got to grow up, and they show that. So yeah, that's the same X-23.
Interesting.
They've all been pruned because that's why every character that you see in there, that's why Chris Evans with the cameos. Chris Evans, you think he's going to play Captain America, and then he's getting ready to say Avengers Assemble, and Deadpool's getting all excited about it, and he says flame on, and he turns into the Human Torch. Because it's a Fox character. That's why Elektra's there. She was a Fox character. That's why Blade is there. He was a Fox character. So all the heroes are, that's why they used the original Sabretooth and Pyro and Toad, and all of those are 20th Century Fox characters, and they were all like in the void.
So speaking of Sabretooth, you and I have been talking about these trailers, right? And we're like, man, they're spoiling the whole movie. Now that you've seen the movie, I feel like I need to walk that back a little bit. Like, they did a good job of I don't feel like they spoiled it.
They spoiled legitimately the first hour and a half of the movie, of the 2-hour movie. Because the first hour and a half is all the cameos. And then the second half is like the Deadpool Corp fight.
See, I feel like, yeah, they showed us. So, for instance, in one of the trailers, they showed us Sabretooth. We thought the Sabretooth thing was going to be this big thing, right? In the middle of the movie. That fight lasted 5 seconds.
Yeah,
right?
Cuts his head off.
Cuts his head off. The biggest thing I think that they spoiled was X-23, which, come to find out, there's a reason that they put her in there in the trailer. But,
What's the reason? I never heard
so Daphne Keene wanted to attend the premiere.
Oh, okay.
And they couldn't have her attend the premiere because they were holding her existence as a cameo.
Did you see the fucked up shit that Comic-Con and Marvel did on that standpoint?
What?
So after they did the showing of the movie in Hall H, they brought all the cameo characters on stage.
I saw that.
And announced who they were playing, and then put it on social media the day the movie comes out. The day the movie came out. Or the night before the movie came out, because it was technically Thursday. Ruining the movie for people. Like, literally, like, they were posting no spoilers, and then they fucking spoiled it themselves.
That's crazy to me.
But yes, go back to what you were saying.
It's still on track to hit like 1.3 billion.
Oh yeah, it's already like the number one grossing R-rated movie of the year.
Number one debut for an R-rated movie of all time.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, because it made 496 million its opening weekend.
It's gonna be like, the hype around this movie was real. Even at Comic-Con, like, you could feel that the hype around this movie was real. And that's kind of why I wanted to see it in San Diego, because like, oh shit, I'm gonna go see this movie in San Diego during Comic-Con. This is badass. But the hype around it was real. Fucking, I can tell you one thing. This this movie really makes me want a Channing Tatum Gambit movie.
Really?
Yes, I liked him as Gambit. I'm not gonna lie.
So I always thought that. So when they announced him as that he was casted, I was like, I'm on board for it. I was a Channing Tatum fan. Like 21 Jump Street had just come out, I think, and I'm like, yeah, Channing Tatum, let's sign me up. I felt like I was the only person that was like, yeah, I'm game. Then this movie came out, and when I heard his New Orleans accent, I'm like, oh, thank goodness he didn't play Gambit. It was so bad.
I don't
Did
think
you freeze?
I like it.
Oh,
No.
dude, they make fun of how bad it was.
Oh, I know they do, because he's like, what'd you say? But
yeah,
that's the Cajun accent. Like, if you listen to someone who has a Cajun
dude, I've
accent,
been to
like,
New Orleans, dude, and I've heard
dude,
Cajun
like,
people.
Like,
it's a bad Cajun accent.
Nah, dude, I loved it. I loved it.
I turned to Max and I said, I think they're deliberately making his accent bad.
No, I don't.
Like, it sounds like a guy doing a fake accent. Like I've been to New Orleans, right? I've heard Cajun accents. I've spent some time in New Orleans.
Well, they do the same thing in The Water Boy with the fucking coach. Definitely, oh no.
Yeah, and see, that's they make it sound really bad in there too, but it sounds more like the backwoods Cajun. Like that even sounds more legitimate than Channing Tatum's.
I liked it, man. I want to see more. I want to see more.
Yeah.
They
I
call
don't
me the
know if it's
Gambit.
gonna be him. I don't know if I bet you they're
It
gonna,
probably won't. It probably won't. If they even bring Gambit in, but
because he
I want to
looked
see more of it.
his face has gotten like he's gotten thicker as he's gotten older, right? Not thicker like fat or anything, but his face is wider and everything. I want to see like a Ryan Reynolds-esque like build for Gambit, right? Like
You
somebody
want him to
with a
be
slimmer face
slim.
and like, you know what I mean? But still like muscular, but Channing Tatum looks thick, right? Channing Tatum had kind of a
Yeah, he
rounder
definitely did
face.
look like he was shoved into that suit.
Yeah.
But
I want to see
I loved
somebody
it though.
that's, oh, I thought
I
it was
loved
awesome, dude. When he pulls the cards out like this, like
it.
Gambit's like one of my all-time favorites, right? When he pulled the cards out like this and he's throwing the cards and making the freaking awnings explode and shit, I was in heaven. But his accent was bad.
It
I don't
gave
know
me
how.
it gave me uh Kingsman Golden Circle vibes when he's like, it's usually customary for you to ask before you drink my someone's liquor, and I was like,
Oh yeah.
that it makes me think of fucking him in Kingsman. But
If you had your pick though, if it wasn't Channing Tatum, who would you pick to play Gambit?
honestly, at this point, I don't even know, dude.
Do you know who I thought was brilliant and they just ruined it? I thought Taylor Kish would have been amazing. He has that build, but obviously that movie sucked and the way they portrayed him in that movie sucked. But I thought he would have been fantastic
No,
because
I
John
think he
Carter is a
sucked.
fucking phenomenal movie. He sucks because of the way it was written, and in that movie sucks. He could have done a brilliant job. It's like Jared Leto, right? Jared Leto could have been an awesome Joker if they didn't freaking the writers and Zack Snyder make it suck so bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I don't know, man. I still was pleasantly surprised with some of the cameos, right? When Wesley Snipes came out,
That was a
I
shocker
wasn't
for
expecting
me.
that.
Yeah, and I can't believe they even got him to come back.
Well, apparently
play
him and Ryan
Blade.
Reynolds hated each other.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
We were all expecting Elektra. I was kind of like, oh, I wonder if they get Channing Tatum. That would be hilarious. Like, so I kind of had that thought in the back of my mind. Wesley Snipes never crossed my mind. Right?
Yeah, no. I like where he's like, I'm the only Blade. And Ryan Reynolds looks at the camera like, oh, are you sure about that?
He's still going around saying like, you can't do Blade without me, or like being a daywalker is not so easy because Blade's gone through like 5, 6, 7 rewrites now. Marshala Ali is going to make everybody forget about Wesley Snipes, in my opinion.
Probably, but
because that's an Oscar-winning actor, dude.
yeah.
Like, you know, he doesn't just sign up for things to sign up for him. So, but I don't know, man. Like, I can't remember the last time I had that much fun at a movie. You know,
and a Marvel movie. It's been a while. And dude, the opening scene of this movie, best opening scene in any Marvel movie history. Yeah, where he's digging up Wolverine, he's killing all the TVA agents to bye, and he's actually doing the dance too. Yeah. As he's doing it. I was like, best opening scene ever, dude. That's the way you start the movie.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. The one thing, and I'm trying to remember, wasn't the other two movies they did kind of a parody on the 007 openings? Wasn't that the whole thing? Like,
yeah,
that was the one thing. Like, I loved the bye sequence, but I also thought by doing the 007 parody type thing, where it's like flash a bunch of Deadpools and all this other stuff, I kind of wish they would have kept on with that, but maybe they didn't do that because they also did it for Black Widow in the MCU. Wasn't parody though. That was actually trying to be serious, but
Yeah.
but I don't know, man. Like you said though, we talked about Deadpool and Wolverine 2 weeks before it came out, maybe a week before it came out, and I said, I think this could be the reset. People were going to go see this movie because it was Deadpool. The real testament will be, can they carry that into Captain America? And if Captain America does well and is well received, right? So if it makes money and it's well received, then we can firmly say, like, okay, I think Marvel's on an upward slope.
You're saying the same thing I told you 2 weeks ago.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you said this, right? I'm not trying to take credit for it. You said this, and I think I've come around to agree with you that we kind of all now I don't think anybody thought that Deadpool was going to do this well.
Oh, I did. I absolutely did.
You think Deadpool, it was going to make 1 point?
Oh yeah, dude. It's Deadpool. People want to see how he fits in the MCU, and he's teamed up with Wolverine, and it's Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine.
I thought it was going to do well, but it even beat projections. Like, they projected 170 million opening weekend, and it made 236, and then 470 internationally. Like, that is a wide margin difference. You know what I mean? From 170 to 230, and then 470 internationally. Like,
and all the hype with Taylor Swift was supposed to be in the movie and all that. Like, yeah, dude, the hype train was in full effect for this movie, and there was no
come to find out Taylor Swift was not involved whatsoever.
No, and I was surprised. I thought for sure she would be in there somewhere. Like, there was even a Stan Lee cameo in there.
Where?
On the side of the bus. There's a stand when they're fighting all the Deadpool variants. There's a saying by Stan Lee on the side of the bus, and there's a little picture of him.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. I was laughing because my wife was watching it like this because of all the blood. She did not like all the blood. So I look at her. I was like, "Why are you closing your eyes?"
Lady Deadpool was Blake Lively.
Yeah, I was surprised.
She's voiced by her, though. And she's voiced by her, and she gets the credit in the trailer. I mean, at the end of the movie. Kid Deadpool is actually Ryan Reynolds' daughter. It's his oldest daughter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's cool. Ryan McElhenney was one of the TVA agents.
Now, he came out and said that he got cut.
Yeah, but he was supposed to be one of the TVA agents. Because there's a picture of him with Hugh Jackman, and he's dressed up in the TVA uniform.
Yeah, and he has Hugh Jackman's claws.
Nathan Fillion voiced Deadpool. He was the voice of Deadpool.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
And fucking Matthew McConaughey was the cowboy Deadpool.
It's awesome. Deadpool the Kid. Is that what it is?
Yeah. The Kid Pool.
Kid Pool.
Yeah. Or the Kid Deadpool or whatever. But yeah, the cowboy Deadpool, that was fucking Matthew McConaughey.
Now, let me ask you. So we finally got Hugh Jackman wearing the suit, and then towards the end of the movie, he pulls on the mask. What did you think about the mask?
It looked terrible.
With the white eyes?
Yes, it looked shitty. It didn't look right. It didn't feel right. Like, it looked shitty.
I'm on both sides. Like, at one standpoint, I'm like, oh, that's cool that they attempted this with the white eyes. On the other standpoint, I'm like, it's kind of the argument I make with Batman all the time. Like, man, I wish they would have the white eyes with Batman, but they do like kind of the mascara and then put the mask over. It either has to be one of those two things. And if he's going to take off his mask and not have the mascara on his face.
Yeah.
Because it could not have been just his eyes. That would have looked stupid. But it's a difficult mask to pull off, if you think about it. Because in and of itself, that mask is kind of like a parody of other masks.
Yeah,
it's a parody of Batman's mask.
Two Batman kissing.
Yeah, like that mask is supposed to be a parody. Like, it's probably, I would say it's probably the most difficult mask that you could pull off in Marvel, probably in comics, right?
I mean, I could see that. Yeah.
I mean, the Daredevil mask is also bad, but I think they kind of rectified it with She-Hulk, if I remember correctly. But no one else has a mask that I'm trying to think.
I mean, Daredevils they pulled off pretty easily.
Well, in the show, I thought it looked awful.
For me, it's just the white eyes. I don't know. It just didn't look right. I didn't like it.
I didn't like that they kind of roll out a little bit. Like if it would have been flat. Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't think he should have had them at all. Like, just it didn't need the white. Like the white ruined it for me. But I like.
But
the
if
suit.
he didn't have, if it was just his eyes and he didn't have black like makeup around his eyes, like Batman, it would have looked really bad.
Well, I mean, he could still have the. It could just be like part of the mask right here is black that goes around his eyes. You don't necessarily need the makeup.
But I wonder if it wasn't like, because they did it kind of like Deadpool. Like Deadpool actually, like his are like circular, or there's a curvature to him, right? That what if Wolverine like still had the white, but it was flat, like almost like lenses? I think it would have looked better.
Maybe.
How did they do it in? So there's a leaked scene from the Wolverine. Did he have the white eyes in that?
I don't think he ever put that. I don't.
No, but there's a leaked scene of him opening a briefcase, and it's in the briefcase. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, it did not have the white eyes in that one. I don't think.
So it was just kind of, no, it didn't. I'm looking at it right now. Now, where is that the official? I don't think that's the official. Let me present. Share screen.
But I loved.
Is this the official one? I don't think it is. Here's the one that leaked from the Wolverine.
So that would have been the. See, I want to go back and watch it because I want to see if he's wearing that suit. Because you get the John Byrne brown and yellow Wolverine suit as one of the variants.
Which I thought that looked cooler than the other one.
I want to go back and watch it again and see if that suit is actually the one he's wearing in the movie.
No, I can tell from. Oh, here we go. So this is the yellow and brown.
Yeah, that's the John Byrne.
This is from the Wolverine.
Yeah, I want to see if that's the suit he's wearing in Deadpool when he shows up as that variant.
There has to be a site that has all the variants on it.
Well, I can tell you, he was the variants you get, I think 9 different Wolverine variants. You get the John Byrne, brown and yellow Wolverine. You get the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, the one where he's only got one hand. Mm-hmm. You get Old Man Logan. You get the Uncanny X-Men 251 Crucified Wolverine where he's on the giant cross. Then you get, of course, the what they're calling the worst Wolverine, which is the one that's the main character in the movie. You get the comic book accurate Wolverine where he's all short and small.
Which he's even shorter than like
killed.
He's like Danny DeVito short in that.
You got the Patch Wolverine, which is the one you saw in Madripool, and then Henry Cavill. I love the Henry Cavill Wolverine. I can't believe they got him on there. And then
the one I was
Old Man Logan.
The one I was bummed that there had been rumors was the Radcliffe.
Yeah.
There was rumors that the Radcliffe Wolverine was going to make an appearance.
But
And
they
the
went
only
Henry
thing
Cavill instead, and it's so great.
they could have done both. But the only reason I think that maybe they didn't go that route is if there's plans to eventually have Radcliffe become the permanent Wolverine in the future at some point. Yeah, there's no leaks that show any of the variants.
Dude, and that's the other thing I hate about it. Like, the movie's been out for a few days now, and like you can already watch it in bits and pieces on fucking TikTok. Like, you can already find the opening dance sequences all over TikTok. The end of the movie, them fighting all the Deadpool variants.
Yeah.
On TikTok, it sucks, but
yeah, they're not even so Age of Apocalypse, Uncanny X-Men. So that's the crucified one, right?
Wolverine, yep.
Patch, that's the one playing the.
Then you got the Cavill one.
I love the line when he showed up that Ryan Reynolds says that he's going to be treated better over here.
Yeah. How many, like, yeah, and they had the Incredible Hulk 181, the original Wolverine in there. Ooh, this is where he fought Hulk, and you see the claws come out and Hulk's face is in them on that classic cover. It's fucking awesome.
I want to see the actual. How is it not online?
They did do a lot of extra stuff in the trailers though that was not in the movie. Like when they were at the diner scene, I was like, all right, here we go. We're gonna get the, could you eat with your could you put your mask back on? And it's hard to eat with it. It's hard to eat without it.
Oh yeah.
They cut that from the movie. So
I need to go see it again, dude.
Yeah, Erin really wants to see it, so I'm gonna go see it again with her.
I'm surprised I can't find any of these images online. You don't think anybody snapped a picture? Do you know that this dog that they used was actually voted as UK's ugliest dog?
Yep. Ryan Reynolds tried to adopt it.
Did he?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that there's no images of the leaked variants.
There's a huge hate campaign on this movie going on online right now with the Christian community, though, with how many times he refers to himself as Marvel Jesus.
Oh my gosh. Get over yourselves. People are going to get offended from a rated R movie and something that is meant to be irreverent. They shouldn't be going to see it.
But
in my opinion,
still fantastic. Yeah. It doesn't chain, like it wasn't like this huge. I think it's going to be a Marvel saver as far as like box office goes. It was like storyline. It wasn't this huge Marvel saver. Like it didn't put Deadpool in the MCU universe. It just, he saves his universe. So he's still in his own timeline. I thought the Peter thing was funny, that all Deadpools have a Peter.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
And the fucking, like, he shows up and he's got like a massive hog in the crotch of his Deadpool suit.
Yeah, and then I keep wanting to say B-52. That's not her name. The head of the TVA now. What's her?
I don't know. I can't remember her name. She like starts hitting on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
before I closed my screen, there was an image there of Daphne Keene, probably a fan rendering of her in the blue and yellow.
That'd be cool to finally see.
That'd be awesome.
I
really hope that leads into her own solo movie. I think that would be
I don't think she's gonna get her own solo movie, but I think she'll be in. She's gonna come back. I definitely think she'll be in more.
But after watching Logan, like, she's the best part of that movie.
Yeah.
And like, dude, that scene where she slashes Juggernaut's like Achilles tendons was so fucking awesome in this new movie.
Yes.
She goes by him and slashes his tendons.
Yeah.
And makes him crumble. I'm like, that was fucking odd. Like, she could be so cool. And I think she's a phenomenal actress on top of it. And the fact that they brought back the pink, gas station sunglasses for her to do her whole fight sequence, like it's part of her uniform, was fucking incredible. Like, I don't know. I'm absolutely in love with her. Like, as far as her portrayal of X-23, that I want to see more. So I was kind of happy to see both of them sitting in Deadpool's, dining area at the end of the movie, being chummy, because I think it does open the door to having more of her in the future.
I think it's funny that they went and got shawarma at the end of the movie.
It's like,
some
the
Avengers invented shawarma.
It's hilarious. It was just
apparently
a love
letter. Apparently the Avengers exist in the universe that's Wolverine's from, because he knows who they are. Like in Spider-Man No Way Home, when Peter brings up the Avengers, they're like, the Avengers, what is that? Like, they didn't know what it was. And in this one,
is that a band?
Yeah. And this one, he clearly knows who the Avengers are. So
yeah, so I really hope, because if you notice, there was some, for instance, like when they're in Happy's office in the beginning, the picture is there of Tony and Peter with the mask that the little boy who apparently was Peter wears in Iron Man 2.
Yeah, it's on the table, yeah.
But it's strategically blocking the picture of Tom Holland. Now, I don't know if that's because, hey, they don't have the rights to use it in a movie that Sony's not involved in any capacity, or if that's because of the
implications.
Yes. Oh fuck, dude.
Implications. Yeah, you got me all
of No Way Home and Doctor Strange, right?
Yes, I think that's it, because nobody knows who Peter Parker is anymore. So it's strategically placed, because at this point it's just Tony and some kid.
Yeah, and I hope that eventually we get, I really want a Deadpool Spider-Man, some sort of.
So there's a leaked scene out there that people were calling the end credit scene of Deadpool sitting on the rooftop looking at his phone, because in the movie he's like so there's a leaked scene of, and it could have been generated, I don't know, but it was floating around TikTok and Instagrams, and it got taken down almost as quickly as it got put up, of Deadpool sitting on the side of a building looking at his phone, and in the scene you just see like elbow down of Spider-Man walk into frame, and then it ends.
Dude, that'd be amazing. Dude, that would be hysterical too if that was in there and it was kind of like a poking fun at the end credit scene of Shazam. How funny would that?
With Superman?
Because they had Cavill in the beginning, kind of poking fun, and at the end they have Spider-Man, but only showing from shoulders down.
Yeah,
holding a cafeteria tray. That would seal it.
So, I don't know. I love the movie. Like I said, best opening scene in a movie. I thought the movie was pretty funny. The jokes were on. The breaking the fourth wall. He did it a lot.
Oh yeah.
I like the final fight with the Deadpool core. I thought my only gripe with this movie is, in a way, it continues to follow the same Marvel formula where the bad guy is virtually not needed.
You talking about Paradox or Nova?
No, I'm talking about Cassandra. Yeah, Cassandra Nova.
I thought she was badass.
Like, yeah, she is badass, but really, you don't know much more about her than that she's Charles Xavier's sister that he tried to kill in the womb.
Well, they don't even say that. They just say that he doesn't know she exists.
Yeah, well, so and then she's in the void and you don't really know a lot about her. They don't go into a lot about her, and then like she's just tries to use the Ripper, the Time Ripper, and they kill her. Like
I don't think she's dead though.
I just think that I feel like the bad guy was once again underutilized. I know people don't go to the movies for that, but like Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame, like they made you really care about Thanos and stuff, and they did great bad guy work with Thanos, and I think you're gonna get great bad guy work like that with Doom. But I just wish they would have given the bad guy as much time and energy as they do to Wolverine and Deadpool.
There's only really two well, maybe three if you count Loki. But there's only really two bad guys that I can think of in any of the Marvel movies that actually I don't want to say care about, but that have like an emotional impact, and that's Thanos and Black Panther. What's Michael B. Jordan's character?
Oh, Killmonger.
Yeah, Killmonger. That between those two, like because Killmonger, they actually give him like a purpose and a reason for the way he is. That kind of make you understand him a little bit more. But they haven't had a good track record with villains in general. I mean, even the first two Deadpool movies. You know, I guess if you count Firestorm or Firestarter or whatever the kid's name is, like you kind of understand because he was like abused and stuff. But I don't even know if I really call him the villain so much. I don't know, man. Marvel's definitely got some work to do on their villain front, because one of the biggest what could you say biggest travesties that Marvel has committed in the villain space is what they did with Taskmaster.
Taskmaster and Gore the God Butcher.
Oh yeah. But see, with Gore the God Butcher, at least here's my issue. Gore the God Butcher, like, yes, they completely changed who that character is from the comics, but they at least gave him like a backstory and stuff. Like you understand who he is in the movie, right? Taskmaster, they don't even like, you don't even know who it is really. Like besides them saying like it's the daughter of this one person, like it's so throwaway, the backstory, that I would see that as even a worse travesty than what they did with Gore the God Butcher. And Christian Bale, for what he was given, did a really good job for what he was asked to do.
Yeah, I'll give him that. But
so yes, I agree with you. Like Gore the God Butcher pissed me off too. But Taskmaster to me, like, was so abused, right? To make it like she wasn't even like formidable. You know what I mean? Like Taskmaster's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like she's put down pretty quickly. But I don't know. I digress. So yeah, I'm planning on going to see it again. But it's going to be a couple weeks before I can go. But it sounds like you're planning on going to see it again.
Yeah, with Aaron eventually, hopefully. But yeah, I liked it. I think for me, it's a solid 7.5. Like I said, it's nothing groundbreaking. It's nothing terribly new. I liked the jokes. I liked the cameos. I love the cameos. I love the opening sequence. It was just a fun, funny, action-filled, mindless popcorn movie. And I'm okay with that. Like, I don't need complicated, diluted story in a Marvel movie. Like, sometimes it's just fun to watch a comic book movie on screen, and that's what this was. This was a fun comic book movie.
Well, that's what I feel like the first Ant-Man was. Like we all enjoyed the first Ant-Man. And I watched it again the other day, and the first Ant-Man feels like just a fun movie that doesn't really have like any like real consequences to the overarching like story of the universe. Like obviously it plays its role, but it's a fun movie that you can watch on its own, right? Like you don't need to watch all this other stuff. Like it sets it up nicely and puts a nice little bow on it. Ant-Man, I feel is similar to just a fun time. Not everything
Yeah.
has to have like, you know, real like.
But in the grand scheme of things of Marvel, everyone expects things to connect. You want this movie to connect to the next one. That's why everyone wants the end credit scene. It's so to the point where like people sit in movie theaters to see if there's an after credit scene in a non-Marvel movie. And
Right.
you know, so it's like it's so ingrained now, like and all the after credit scenes are a preview or a commercial for the next fucking movie. So
That's what's nice about Deadpool is that there's none of that.
oh dude, their after credit scene is funny where he like goes back and tries to defend himself about about Johnny Storm talking shit about Cassandra Kane, or not. I want to keep calling her Cassandra Kane, Cassandra Nova, and he's like, "I got you, you piece of shit." But
well, that's all the Deadpool movies were like that, right?
Cinnamon roll clean.
I guess like the first Deadpool movie was like, oh hey, by the way, next movie we're gonna have Cable. Like he kind of like pokes fun at the here's what's happening next. But I don't know, man. I enjoyed it. I thought it was better than 2. Light years better than 2. Although it felt like 2 was the only thing that held over from 2 to 3 was Peter. Like there was no Domino wasn't in this, Cable wasn't in this.
Shatterstar was.
Shatterstar was. I thought he died.
Yeah, he did, but remember he resets time, and so then he brings them all back to life.
Oh, that's right. But why wasn't Domino in this?
I don't know why she wasn't in this, but
she came out and said that she wanted to come back, and they just never got her to come back.
Well, I think because they had Wolverine and there was really no spot for like Shatterstar really only had his cameo at the beginning and a cameo at the end, and that was it.
Well, yeah, like Domino and Cable could have been that. They could have had.
But Cable went back into the future, so he's not around anymore.
Yeah.
But
I really hope after watching X-Men 97, I want like a true Cable. Like that if they ever bring Cable back in, like I want some big, imposing, you know, not Brolin type actor to play Cable.
I do like how they do reference Cable in this movie, though.
Yeah. Well, they have to because the device in the beginning is the only reason they're able to even have some of those cross pollination of MCU and Fox.
Yeah.
You know, but
all right. Well, we've been at this for almost 2 hours.
And I'm driving in a couple hours.
Yeah, it's late. Final thoughts on your rating on Deadpool.
I walked in thinking that the highest I was going to give it was a 7, maybe a 7.5. I walked out probably more firmly at an 8.5. So I do feel like it exceeded expectations. I don't felt like it maxed out my expectations. Does that make sense? Like I can't give it a 10 because it obviously has some issues, but an 8.5, 8 to 8.5. So it did better than I thought it was going to do. And I just walked out with a smile on my face. I just had a really good time.
Yeah, like I said, I gave my reason 7.5. It was nothing groundbreaking. It was exactly what it needed to be. Fun movie. The cameos were fun. The plot does kind of drag a little bit at times, but just seeing the budding partnership between Wolverine and Deadpool and
that we've been clamoring for.
And that opening scene being amazing. 7.5 for me. It was a fun, enjoyable movie, but it's not like it's not like Endgame, or not even Endgame, but I would say it's not like Infinity War, or anything along those lines. But it was still.
Is this better or worse than No Way Home?
I mean, it's
or at par.
I think it's at par with it, honestly.
Like the fan service, because
they're different types of movies, but
did anything garner the cheer that Tobey Maguire did?
A lot of people cheered at the Wesley Snipes in the showing. I went with the Wesley Snipes cameo because I think they were caught off guard by it.
But like they did with Tobey
didn't get a cheer in my theater. Garfield got the cheers.
Oh, Tobey, both of them got the cheers. In fact, I was annoyed. But I saw No Way Home in theaters like 7 or 8 times because kept having people saying I hadn't seen it yet. I was like, I'll go with you.
Yeah. But all right, well, I think that'll do it for this San Diego Comic-Con / Deadpool Wolverine filled episode. Let us know in the comment section below what you thought of Deadpool and Wolverine, what your favorite cameo or favorite moment from the movie was, and what your final rating was. And remember to like. Oh,
quick note: we are not having a show next week, but there will be some small episodes that Matt's going to put out.
Mm-hmm. I got plenty more San Diego footage getting ready to release. I got to get the footage from the boys panel up. I've got someone sifting through that for me. I've got to get the rest of the Marvel footage up. I'll probably be posting the Captain America and Fantastic Four footage here soon. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming to the channel, so just keep your eyes on the channel. I'm going to try, like I said, back from San Diego, going to try and put out a video a day for content on the channel. I might do a more in-depth review of Wolverine or Deadpool Wolverine, as well as so I could sit down and actually like collect my thoughts and write it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, make sure to keep your eyes on the channel. Make sure to follow us if you're just finding this video. And you like what you hear, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so we can get over to 1,000 subs and really start growing this channel like it should be. If you want to follow us on social, we're on all social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, X, Facebook. Join the discussion, join the conversation. And for this week's episode of the Absolute Geek Podcast, I'm Matt.
And I am Lance.
And we'll see you guys next time. Premature ejaculate button hitting. I just splooged all over the outro.
I was about to do it and you did it.
Yeah. But thanks everyone, and we'll see you guys next time.
All you freaks and geeks,
come all you freaks and geeks. Let's listen to Absolute Geek.
Absolute Geek.
We'll go ahead and spread our cheeks.
Spread the cheeks.
And drink some Cosby wine.
We'll drink some Cosby wine. It makes me feel real fine. See you next time on the Absolute Geek.